Okay. Hi, everyone. My name's Kelly. I am 47 years old, transitioning from male to female. And we have a couple of other channels and companies. If you want to check those out to see what my prior life was like, you can just do a search on the web for Riverstone Naturals or Riverstone Studios, and you'll be able to find a lot of us. The whole point of starting this channel is to document and share my journey of being later in life. I'm 47 and just found out this year that I'm actually transgender. And so I want to document my travels from changing from male to female over the rest of my life here. I really don't know where to begin, but let's back it up a little bit. I never knew what transgender meant. I had no idea what that was or what I was or anything else. I just knew that I was different growing up. And any time that I showed any feminine traits in my household growing up, my brothers were very quick to put me in my place. And I was born in 71. And so in the 1970s and early 80s, terms that you heard were faggot, wussy, pussy, sissy. So anytime I demonstrated anything on the feminine side, I found out very quickly that it got me beat up. And so I kind of hid it my entire life. And I just thought that I was a weird duck that never fit in. Got married when I was 21, 22. And met a beautiful woman. We had a great marriage together for 10 years. She died of cancer when she was 32. And we found out about the cancer when she was pregnant with our child. And the reason we found out about it was because she was actually having testing done. We found out that our firstborn son was going to be born with prune belly syndrome, which is something that hits about 1 in 30,000 kids, and most of the kids don't live past the age of 2 because of renal failure that happens. We were pretty lucky. He's 17 now, so and doing awesome. Unfortunately, though, I did lose my first wife at 32. I ended up marrying one of her friends, and we've had a wonderful, beautiful marriage for 15 years, coming up 16 this spring. And we absolutely love doing everything together. We've got 2 kids now, by the way. So one's 14 and one's 17. And so kind of fast forwarding a little bit here. Last year, so we were watching a documentary, and I don't even remember what it was called, but there was a few people on there who were transgender. And when they got to speaking with them, my wife, Audrey, kind of looked at me and she kind of nudged me, and I looked at her and I nudged her. And at the end of the documentary, we realized that I was transgender. Now, to back that story up a little bit, in our entire marriage, I've been wearing skirts for about 5 years. I've been promoting skirts for men for that same amount of time. You know, have always been a promoter that unisex clothing. And yet secretly in the back of my mind, and something that I didn't want to admit to myself, was that I really wish that I could be wearing women's clothes. And as weird as that sounds, that has to be kind of added in on that backlog there. That one of the things I've always told my wife is that either in a past lifetime I was a woman or I'm coming back as a woman, because I've always felt like one. When I was a kid, I was textbook transgender. I dressed in my sister's clothes and my mom's clothes when no one was in the house. The few times I got caught, I got scolded. So again, I learned very quickly what kept me safe and what got me into trouble. So I kind of hid that all my childhood growing up, and never really thought about it again in my adulthood. But I would do all sorts of weird things, like take my wife's shopping for bras because they could never find anything that fit. And they always commented that Anything that I picked out for them fit like a glove. So anyhow, I'm all over the place on this video and I apologize. Eventually I'll have to get a bunch of videos together and sort them all out, but right now I just want to go blah and just get it out to you guys. And just to say that if you're later in life, don't wait. You have to do what's right for you, and you have to do what's right for your family. And in my particular case, I wish I would have known 20 years ago. Having said that, I wouldn't be married to the wonderful woman I am now, and I wouldn't have the wonderful kids that I have now. And so everything happens for a reason in the right timing. And in my particular case, it was 47 years old. So jumping forward to a conversation that we had in May, Audrey looked at me and when I realized what was going on, she said, "So what do you want to do about it?" And I said, "Well, I've lived 47 years of my life as a man. I mean, I can go another 45, 50, doing the same thing." And she said to me, and I've got the most incredible wife ever. She said, "Yeah, but what would make you happy?" And I said, "Honestly, if I would have been born a woman." And she said, "Well, why don't we look into that?" And again, I just thought, it's never going to happen. So we went and we talked to our doctor. And I said, one of the first things to her was, "I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if this is what I am. But the worst thing I ever want is to be seen as some ugly cross-dresser, man dressed up as a woman." And she looked at me with almost tears in her eyes and she said, "Kelly, you'll make a beautiful woman. You are a beautiful woman." And the fact that my wife said that and our family doctor said that really affected me deeply. So we said, okay, well, let's wait until kids get older and they're gone from school, and then we'll talk about transitioning. And I told Audrey, I said, the only way that I'm going to do this is if you're with me 110%. And I said, because it doesn't just affect me, it affects our entire family. And that's one of the beautiful things about transitioning later in life, is that it comes with a lot of life experience, and you have compassion and understanding for where other people are at, not just yourself. And yeah, you have to help yourself be happy, but you have to take into account the feelings and emotions that everyone else around you is going to be going through. And so we sat down, we had a conversation with our 14-year-old and our 17-year-old, and we said, this is where we're at, and we're thinking about transitioning. What do you guys think of that? And first of all, they kind of said, "Duh, Dad." They could see it long before we did, and the new generation is just so much more on top of it than what we are. Like I said, I'm almost embarrassed that at 47, it took me this long to actually figure out what the transgender actually meant. And so then they said, "Well, why would you wait for us to be gone from home?" And we said, "Well, because it affects you guys. It's in our community. We live in a small town. And, whatever we do is going to greatly affect you and your friends." And they said, "Just go for it. You need to be yourself." And something else we worried about was, if the community didn't accept this transition, what would we do? And we spent 10 years building a beautiful 7.5 acre acreage, and we're all sorts of parts of community groups and everything else, and we have a business in the community as well. And so then the more that we thought about it, we thought, this is probably going to answer a lot of questions, because one of the things is that I'm kind of known as the guy in a skirt community here. So as it turns out, when we started transitioning, it was, I think about August was when things all started. And we were right about a lot of things. The community did accept us at where we were at. I started hormones August 27th, and I've been on them for about 5 months now, 4.5 months. Now I'm just gonna change the angle here because the sun is changing on me. Okay, that's a little better. And yeah, this whole transition has not been a walk in the park. There's been some really hard conversations and some really hard realizations. We spent 10 years building our acreage based around what I could do as a man. And now we have to rethink and re-engineer and kind of redo a lot of the things that we used to do, with the realization that I'm not going to have the muscular strength that I used to have. What else? Family. So talking to my family, my mom, it actually, as time has gone on since we told her, my mom has realized that there's a lot of things that now make sense, that were just kind of a little bit out of place before. My 2 sisters don't really understand, but they're okay with it. And my brother is having a very difficult time with it, doesn't understand it at all. And for anybody who has realized that they're transgender, who's in their 30s or their 40s or their 50s, you know, we all have to make our own decisions, but boy, I am really blessed that I have such a wonderful support behind me. And I would never do this without having that support. We've watched some stories where there's been wives who have said, yes, I'll support you, support their husband, and then they end up, once the transition starts, then the husband's transitioning to female changed so much that they start embracing their newfound look and their newfound life, and the relationship just kind of goes downhill. And I think one of the things that has been very good for us is that both Audrey and I are very much in love with each other, always have been. It was some pretty traumatic events that brought us together, and we've always worked very hard and said that our relationship comes first. So this whole transition from male to female, we actually are looking forward to getting our nails done together, going to spa days together, sharing clothes together. There's a lot of really beautiful things that can happen from it, and it's all in your perspective. But everybody's in their own place, and like I said, I don't know what the purpose of this video is. Some of it is for me just to go blah, and some of it is for understanding for other people out there who maybe don't understand transgender, or why someone would want to do this, or whatnot. And maybe it's to help others in their walk with their spouses, to realize that it's not the end of a relationship, it's a different type of relationship, and everybody's at their own place. So I think I'm just going to wrap it up at that, call it quits. It's a cold day in January in the middle of Saskatchewan, and you can probably see the breath coming out of my mouth here as I'm talking. I'm in our greenhouse because it's nice and quiet and sunny, but it is freaking cold in here. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up and say I love you guys very much. And new channel, if you want to follow along, if you want to watch this journey, maybe I can give you guys some pointers, or maybe you can just give some support in this direction or whatever. I don't know why people watch these videos, but I know when I started going through this, we started searching out transgender, transitioning, and everything on YouTube, and lots about younger people, very little about people who were in their 30s or 40s or 50s, and the ones that were there were basically just their transition timeline. And I want to do a little bit more than that. I'd like to say I'm kind of at a special place because, like I said, I've had a very colorful past, I've had a lot of crap that I've walked through in our family and through health and whatnot. And I believe that I'm not the only one. And like I said, if we can support each other, then that's awesome. And if you can glean a couple of gems from this video and sort through the crap that you don't need, then that's awesome. So I wish you guys all the best, all the luck. And we will talk to you again in the next video. So take care. Oh, I should probably say, subscribe, I guess. Come along for the ride. Check out our other channels, Riverstone Studios, Riverstone Naturals, and check out what my past life looked like as a guy. I did a lot of building off-grid with straw bale and stucco and that sort of stuff, and so we've got lots of videos on that, and you can kind of see my transitioning with going into skirts as well. And yeah, if you have any questions, please shoot them in the comments below, and I'll answer every one of them. So love you guys very much. Take care. Bye bye.